I am Patricia Gualinga, an indigenous Quichua from Sarayaku in the Ecuadorian Amazon region. I am an environmental and indigenous rights activist. The great indigenous mobilizations of 1990 and 1992 were led by men. During demonstrations, women sometimes put themselves at the front to prevent violence and keep the peace. They did this at the March of 1992. The police were there with their horses, and the women stood in the way. If they come and attack us, then sure, some of us will die. But that's not the intention. The intention is to prevent violence, and women have done this often. We set off on the march to Quito from Puyo on the 12th October 2013, at a time when marches were banned, to tell the government that we women did not give our consent to oil and mineral extraction on our territory. I think that this was a defining moment, the first time that women's point of view had been heard. The men's voices, though still valid, no longer had credibility, had lost their power to defend our territory. Now it was the turn of women, ordinary women, with simple words, untainted by political discourse. Despite this, if we are talking about challenges facing women, I would begin by saying that one challenge is ourselves. I am known for my outspoken campaign against alcoholism amongst indigenous Amazonian communities. Our struggle has been to outlaw spirits in the Sarayaku constitution. The indigenous leaders are under great pressure. They are attacked, subjected to attempts to discredit them, while defending our territory against the government or the oil companies. Sooner or later, they break down under this pressure and seek solace in beer and spirits. There are community leaders amongst them, good, able, intellectual, powerful men. But when it comes to discussing the issue of alcohol, they seem incapable of lending real support or setting an example, which I think is a big problem. Marquitos, a Sarayacan artist and craftsman, recently died of cirrhosis of the liver. Candles were lit, and the mourners drowned their grief, their sorrows, in alcohol. And it's not just because they drink alcohol. It's a combination with hepatitis B, which has struck the indigenous people, the Guarani, the Quichua, and the Zapara, which is killing young people like Marquitos. There is a problem in the way some women view the introduction into Sarayaku of alcohol that comes from Puyo, the nearest town. The impact of chicha, the alcohol we make ourselves, is much milder. I personally know many communities caught in the alcohol trap. I have worked with male and female leaders. But for me as a woman, my most difficult task has been convincing the women in my community to address some of the deeper issues. Imagine women who have the smallest voices, such as those of the Sarayaku Quichua people, who have a population of just 1,200 men, women, and children. As women, we could refuse to make chicha for some time. But some of the women will say, but it's our duty. Many women won't accept that there's a problem and that their children have to wake up and realize that the world is changing. Women's reluctance to change is a structural problem. On the other hand, many women have joined the Amazonian women's movement. Great female leaders have emerged, such as Alicia Kawilla of the Guarani people, who has spoken to the National Assembly, and Gloria Ushigwa of the Zapara people. There are many women who can say no. We don't want this, and we are going to say it ourselves. Not our president, not one of the male leaders, but me. I will speak. There was a moment when the women came together and said, "We cannot let this happen. This land must be inherited unpolluted by future generations. And if our men have been demoralized, have lost heart, very well. Then the women will rise to the challenge as wives, mothers, daughters, and sisters, and we will go to the front line." The indigenous women's movement appeared on the scene at the same time all over the Americas, and gradually we've been meeting by chance in different parts of the world, all committed to the struggle.
El primer tratado en septiembre de hace un año en Nueva York, cuando salió la luna roja.
We signed the first agreement in New York in September 2015, at the time of the Red Moon. And some of those women joined us for the Women's March in 2016, here in Ecuador, on International Women's Day. Women backing the struggle for our territory and for the rights of indigenous peoples is a mission that has been a long time in the making. Throwing ourselves into defending our territory has made us visible and given us status. We might be in different parts of the continent, of the world, but if we ask for support, we come together and display solidarity at the global level. We have a long way to go in forming an organizational structure. The movement has been spontaneous and planned. We just appeared like plants. We are attempting to get organized, seeing how it goes. We were there all along, but behind the scenes, getting everything ready. Now, we are stepping forward, and some of us can be seen in the front line. But we have a long way to go, and there will be changes. But we can relate to each other, which is very positive in our quest to defend nature, to defend Mother Earth, planet Earth.